Friends, Colin from Canada here. I probably should have waited for the cars to go by. Take two. Friends, Colin from Canada here. Colin from Canada's Good Junk. We're at the entrance to Earl Rowe Provincial Park. There it is there. I can work a camera. This is a rainbow trout. He's been here for a while. He was down and being repaired, but now he's back up again. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. We are at the swimming pool behind me. This is either Ontario's largest outdoor swimming pool or Canada's largest outdoor swimming pool. Prior to COVID, you know how long COVID was, this bad boy was closed down. You know how long ago COVID was? This is the first year they've reopened the pool since before COVID. Fun fact, it is obviously a giant circle, and it is shallow all the way around and then proceeds to get deeper the whole way around the circle. You know what I'm saying. Let's rewind about 34 years ago this year, I would say. John Riddell was literally on this very lawn here that I am pointing at and ran into the pool and tripped in the shallow end, fell backwards and smacked the back of his head. 34 years ago, roughly. Friends, Colin from Canada here, in the Earl Rowe store, and more important than me is this thing right here. This is the original fridge where they hold the worms. Okay, this was around when Colin from Canada was a youth. That's about 40 years ago. Let's go 35 perhaps, but still going strong. This is the second time filming this. I've got permission. I'm pretty famous around these parts. They know me. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. Behind me, you will see the beach. And my God, can we get a shot of the thousands upon thousands of people enjoying the beach? Look at all of them. Oh my God, splish splash. Folks, you're probably wondering why no one's at the beach. I'm going to explain it. If you can tell and see here, we have some Canadian geese. Also behind me, these guys over here were not too happy with the fact that I was scootering in to do this shot, but they're just going to have to wait. The beach is unswimmable due to goose poo. I will repeat that. The beach that I loved growing up because I came here every year is now infested with goose poo. You can still paddleboard, paddle boat, and canoe. Rentals are at the store. You saw the store earlier. They're having fun. Oh, friends, Colin from Canada. We got to use the other lens, and as you know, it shakes. We learned that in last episode, but if you look carefully, there's a blue heron right there. Ah, damn it, I wish this wasn't shaking. Hold on. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. We're at the fish ladder, and because I can't use the other camera, because it's shaky, it won't zoom in. If you look carefully in the distance, maybe I can point to it. There's a blue heron down there. I'm trying to, this is awesome video. It's in there somewhere. Friends, Colin from Canada, you can see the top of my head. No one works a camera like Colin. Above me, you can see the speed limit is 10 kilometers and it says sound horn. I am currently on a road that is no longer in use because the Earl Rowe Provincial Park that I loved so much as a youth has fallen apart and government funding is a little risky. Anyways, this road is not in use, but it used to be when I was a kid. And Dad would let me sound the horn when we went under this bridge. And I laid on the horn like there was an 18-wheeler coming at us, and my brother hated every second of it. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. And if we can zoom down into here, that is number 93. That is campsite 93. And if we turn ourselves around, I know how to work a camera. We've already covered that. This is 93. Let's maybe get in the shade. That might get you better. Okay. I don't remember it being this dirt. It was more I don't remember it. Let's get my finger out of the way here. I don't remember it being this dirt, sandy. I thought it was more grass, but this is the one. This is the site that John Riddell, living legend, took me and my brother when we were a kid to, and this is what set it off some 40 years ago. This is about as interesting as a bag of nails for you guys, but this is the original site that Colin from Canada fell in love with camping. Every video I'm going to point to you guys. I'm an idiot. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe. This is the sewage dumping station that is part of the sights and sounds that you'll see here at Earl Rowe. There was a gentleman here earlier who I was actually going to go up to and ask, can I film you emptying the feces and urine from your trailer, as I have a YouTube channel and I'm 45 years old. But I couldn't get the intestinal fortitude up enough to ask him. So then I was trapped talking to him for about half an hour regarding his mobile home and how to dump out the feces and urine. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe. We're at the garbage dumpsters on the Riverside area of Earl Rowe. Westside is over there. They have their own garbage dumpsters. If you ask me nicely, we'll go over there and take a look at those dumpsters. But this is the Riverside dumpsters. Here we have 1, okay, 2, and 3. I'm laughing right now because there's an SUV driving out as I point to the dumpsters. Dumpster number 3, dumpster number 4. That's for garbage. But here in Canada, and I'm assuming in America, we like to save the earth. So what do we got here? We got, oh, here comes another car that's gonna say what this idiot doing. Recycling and recycling. And then for those who, she's looking at me like I'm an idiot, and I am. We're gonna do the propane and the butane, okay? I wasn't lying, there they go. That guy's an idiot, who cares about dumpsters? You know who cares about dumpsters? The legends. Who are the legends? My friends, my viewers, because I'm the hero and you're the legends. Dumpsters. And look at this. You find treasures. I'm gonna kneel down, and it's not wildlife, it's a 2-slice toaster. Tell me this isn't entertaining. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. Guys, you wanted garbage dumpsters. I know you've been asking for them, so I'm going to deliver. This time we're at the pool, and these are the pool garbage dumpsters. 1 and 2. There is no sign of recycling dumpsters. So the pool doesn't care about planet Earth. But I do. You have to hit record. First appearance, shaky video, and... Friends, Colin from Canada. John Riddell. Chipmunk Whisperer 2025. Shaky video. Friends, Colin from Canada. Still at Earl Rowe. Girlfriend and I are at the top of the Lookout Trail, as you see behind me. The lookout is not as looky-outy as you would think because of all these goddamn trees, but I assure you, we are at an elevated plateau. I still don't think plateau is the right word. Look at the view. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. Behind me are more of the sights and sounds of Earl Rowe. I am at the beach and the store is that way. But let's just take a look at the lovely swing set behind me here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 adult/teenage swings, and of course 1 for the baby. And if there were people at the beach, other than the 1,001 Canadian geese, they would be enjoying the swings, quite possibly battling to the death over, I got next! I said I got next! But just geese, folks, just geese. Earlier there was a canoer, but I've taken 8 years to film this clip, so the canoer has now since passed. That's the way to the store. Friends, Colin from Canada here. I am at the entrance to the Westside campground. We are camping on the Riverside campground of Earl Rowe Provincial Park. And you wanted the garbage dumpsters? You didn't even ask for them, but I'm going to go ahead and give them to you. Let's start with the recycling. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4. The Westside cares about planet Earth, whereas the swimming pool doesn't. We covered that earlier. The camp fuel and propane recycling is there. I'm gonna turn you around this way. This is where the excitement is, folks. You remember how many dumpsters were on Riverside? Westside don't play like that, let me tell you. Westside for life. Let's count them together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, my friends. 15. I was going to film earlier, but there was 2 transient men in a mysterious blue truck going through the recycling to get cans. People got to make a living. I'm down, but they looked a little odd. They were a bit shady. Perhaps shady characters. But they're gone now, and I'm safe. Friends, Colin from Canada here. Still at Earl Rowe. I am at the very entrance of the Westside campground. Again, we're camping on the Riverside. The luxurious 15 dumpsters and 4 recycling dumpsters are just over yonder. But here we are at what used to be the front gate to the Westside. But security has faltered and you can just drive around the park aimlessly without much security. It's now a laundromat. Let's go take a look, shall we? As we enter, over here we have the 2 washing machines and they cost $3 to do a load. Judging by the coin receptacles, I believe toonies and loonies. For those in America, that's our $2 coin and our $1 coin. Let me swing you around this way and we have the dryers. The dryers are $1 cheaper. They are $2. Are you seeing that? Yes, you are. And they accept only loonies, as I see only 2 slots. And quick math says, if it's $2 and you got to put 2 coins in, that would be 2 loonies. If this isn't entertaining, this might be over here. What's that? An unprotected thermostat. Guys, we dream of these moments. Also, someone has left their Tide Simply All-in-One. There's still a little bit in there. So they're donating that to the next person in line. Have I mentioned I'm sweating like a pig? Because I am. But entertaining. They also have a garbage can. Friends, Colin from Canada at the lowest volume ever. And if we look over my shoulder, you can see up in the distance, upon the tree, an osprey. I'm still at Earl Rowe.
Friends, Colin from Canada here, again at a muted volume. And if you're seeing what I'm seeing, this is quite possibly the single worst video of an osprey in a tree or not in a tree. Still at Earl Rowe.
Friends, Colin from Canada, again at a lowered volume. I cannot use the other camera on the other side of my phone as it's shaky, but in the distance on the water, and there's no way you can see this, there's a beaver carrying something across the water. There's no way you can see that. He's now on the shore. Friends, Colin from Canada. Just a lovely sunset that I think I'm getting. Again, the camera work is... Friends, Colin from Canada. Real clean shot of my beard, but let's not take a look at that. Let's look at that sunset. Still at Earl Rowe. Friends, Colin from Canada. Earl Rowe. And a grackle. Friends, Colin from Canada. Still at Earl Rowe. We're at the amphitheater where, when I was a young youth, we would come here and sit on the bleachers in our pajamas and watch a movie or a show put on by the camp staff. Perhaps we would see snakes and turtles brought in by the local animal snake wrangler person. And now as we turn around, hey, they took out all the seats and now it's just a hill. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. Some high winds might be prominent in the video audio-wise, but behind me we have the baseball diamond here at Earl Rowe. As you can see, there is a home plate, but the outfield, I should say, has grown considerably onto the infield. But if we can wrangle up 18 players, play ball. Friends, Colin from Canada. We are at the Montana barbecue grill house. Johnny is enjoying the remnants of the English toffee sauce that came with the fancy donuts that we got for free because there was a toothpick in his coleslaw. Facts. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. In the middle of a scooter ride on the Rainbow Run Trail, and we have encountered a pit stop with a bench and this view. Take it in, everybody. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. The moon. Friends, Colin from Canada here, in the outer regions of the perhaps you're not supposed to be here area of still at Earl Rowe Provincial Park. Guys, we're at the dump, okay? Can we take a look at some of these items? We have two mattresses here, one in the back behind those blue jugs. We have some, looks like office dividers, perhaps lawn chair type cushions, a picnic table, two ice fridges back there. Get my finger in the right place, there we go. Some gates, and of course some picnic tables. Guys, do you want a tire that's jiggity whacked? Friends, I've spun around and we have the two large dumpsters to go along with the other dumpsters that we've already seen in the park. And if I raise that up, you raise me up. A lot of wood back there, just good stuff. Back here, what do we got? Let's go around the dumpster here. And some rolls of something back there. Did we get it? Did I get that? Okay. Guys, I bring the entertainment, okay? It's exciting. The dump. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. Hopefully I'm getting that, but is that a heck of a caterpillar? This guy'd be really popular in the 70s. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. This is where we saw the blue heron earlier. It's taking off, it's in flight. I don't know if I got that, but more importantly, that's the fish ladder. They have a fish ladder at Earl Rowe. Fish ladder. Friends, Colin from Canada here. We are at the Alliston Potato Festival, and this is the Canine Agility Show. I wouldn't say they're ready for the pros. I wouldn't say they're ready for the pros. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at the Potato Festival. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe, now inside the pool. And I don't know if you can see behind me, but there are lifeguard chairs surrounding the entire pool. You can hear how loud it is at the pool. And the lifeguards, every time there's an infraction, will blow the whistle and not, I repeat, not use their Jimmy Hart megaphones. And 21-year-old women are just saying, stay off the wooden pillars, don't ride each other's shoulders, infants with a life jacket, don't pass the second black line, and no one hears them. Safety first. Friends, Colin from Canada. These are my eyeballs and my enormous forehead. Girlfriend and I, still at Earl Rowe, doing the Lookout Trail yet again, but we haven't got to the topamost of the popamost of Lookout Trail. We're 84% of the way up, and we've decided that this quite possibly could be a better shot of the exact lookout that you get to see on the Lookout Trail. Friends, Colin from Canada, bike helmet on, used as a scooter helmet. Girlfriend off camera. This is the Earl Rowe Administration Office. I have no idea what this place is. Fred, please. Fred, I'm up. Friends, Colin from Canada here. Yet another exciting sunset. And I'm hoping my camera work does the job. Friends, Colin from Canada here. In the background, John Riddell, living legend. If you look very carefully, there's a young friend feeding out of his hand. It's the Chipmunk Whisperer, Part 2. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl, Rowe, sunburnt, fashion never dies. I'm on the west side, and prior to coming into the west side, we know they have the bulk of the dumpsters. And I told you about the two transient men that looked a bit shady. Well, I encountered them again today, and I thought, Colin, let's go for it. And I decided to make some small chitty chat with them, and I went up to one of them, who was damn near skeletal, and said, how goes the can game? He rolled his eyes and shook his head, and I said, what gets you more dough, the non-alcoholic or the alcoholic cans? And he shrugged his shoulders. So judging by that reaction, he didn't want to appear on a 45-year-old man's YouTube channel. But while we're over at the west side, let's take a look at the west side playground. Who remembers these slides? I know I do. Also, I'm just going to turn instead of try to move the camera. We have the two swings for the adult/teen, and the baby is out of luck if he wants to have, or she wants to have, a swing, because there is none. Let's take a look at this camper looking at me and wondering why I'm filming a playground. Also included in this playground is a bench, right? And then follow the finger, bench over there. West Side Playground. Don't talk to the transient men collecting cans. They want nothing to do with you, Colin. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe, sweating profusely, sunburnt, fashion on point. It is roasting out right now, but we are at a vacant lot here on the west side, site 414 for those playing along at home. I had just taken the video of the playground on the west side, and I was approaching the sewage dump station for the trailers on the west side, and the gentleman that drove past me in the video was dumping his trailer. It is a single file, one at a time, not a circle like the Riverside. And he said, hey, you got a YouTube channel? And I thought, oh my God, I can film this guy dumping his poop out. But he didn't want me to film him dumping his poop out because no one wants to see that. But he obviously doesn't know my audience, because people do want to see that. I tried convincing him, but there was no dice. But he does have his own channel if you'd like to check it out. Life Outdoors, LYF, no E, OUTDORZ. I'm going to put that up on the screen. You're going to see it now, and you can check out. His name is Mike. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe, sunburnt, blazing hot, sweating profusely. Fashion lives forever. Raw sewage dump here on the west side. Mike has just left. He didn't want to be interviewed or seen on camera. I think it would have been great because he was a legend. But if we can just pop it up a bit. Folks, the smell is extraordinary. Friends, if you could smell what I'm smelling right now, you would pay to watch my show, because no one entertains you like Colin from Canada. Raw sewage. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe, still on the west side. Behind me right now is where you used to be able to buy firewood. Now you just buy firewood at the front gate, and they store the extra wood here. Entertaining? You're goddamn right it is. Friends, Colin from Canada here. I'm trying to get a shot of the transient men going for the bottles. And we're gonna sort of go around this way a little bit. And we're gonna get a shot, I think, right now. That's a bad shot. He's through the bush there, standing on the container. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe, sunburnt, highest fashions are intact. And we're on the Riverside. This is the side that I'm camping on, and we're checking out the Riverside's playground. A lot more elaborate than the West Side playground or the playground we saw in between the store and the beach. You guys remember. More of a newer one for the kids. We got the two slides and the wall climbing thing. And then over here we have the traditional old school baby swing and 1, 2, 3 adult/teenage swings. Riverside Playground. Friends, Colin from Canada here. John Riddell, living legend, in the background. Not only is he a chipmunk whisperer, he's also a squirrel whisperer. I can't throw up my thumb because I'm holding a drink. My girlfriend is taking the drink. Friends, Colin from Canada here in the Riverside laundromat, where prices are a little different than the Westside. As we learned earlier, the Westside laundromat was $3 a load and $2 for the dryer. Let's take a look at how much it is on the Riverside. Here we go. Here you see $2.50 per load for the washing machine and $2.50 for the dryer. Someone has left socks here, like the Tide over on the west side. Cheaper laundry on the Riverside side. Friends, Colin from Canada, just finishing some ice cream. Still at Earl, Rowe, sunburnt. Not sweating so much as I'm in the air-conditioned boat rental place, but this is where you rent boats. The canoes, there's the life jackets. The oars are over here, and the canoes are on the beach. This is where you pay for all the stuff. And I got ice cream in my mustache. Peanut butter chocolate. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl, Rowe. Just wanted to get a shot of the camp, dinner tent, Johnny's tent, girlfriend and I's tent. Johnny's going home, and girlfriend and I are switching sites over to 115. But that was our setup. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl, Rowe, burnt to a crisp. We've already covered that several times. Do I mention the fashion? God knows I don't need to. You've already heard it. John Riddell has gone home for the second week of the adventure. It's just the girlfriend and I. She is currently hanging out in the hammock. And since I went home to drop off Dad, I was able to get the selfie stick. Okay, I don't know if that's gonna help or harm the filming, but I'm on the bridge over some water. The pool is right there. We've covered the pool. But the blue heron, who has been in some of the videos, poorly taped, might I add, he's in the distance there. He's hiding behind that bush. Do you think I can point to the bush? No, because as you know, I'm looking at what I'm filming. The sun is out, but the blue heron is to the left of those two sticks that are in the water. Friends, Colin from Canada, still on the bridge between the front gate and the pool. We've just tried to do the blue heron. It's probably abysmal. I've realized you don't need to extend the selfie stick all the way out. You can have a short distance and still have a great shot and let the people know that that's a damn huge cranium. Getting to my point, pushing forward. I've decided we could maybe start driving with Colin at Earl Rowe. Driving with Colin was going to be a driving segment with myself, commenting on the drivers I encounter in the car, but we're going to do a little remix. We're going to be on the scooter, and we're going to give that a go. So I'm going to stop here, and then we're going to... I haven't done the nose hairs. I know that's what you're thinking, guys. You've been watching the videos, you know the nose hairs are a problem. They need to be trimmed, and perhaps I should have done that before I came camping. Scootering coming up, aka driving with Colin. Remix. Okay, friends, why not film what I'm doing? We are dropping the selfie stick into the bag on the front of the scooter. That's a flattering shot of Colin's gut. Hold on tight. Okay, there's no way this is gonna work, but we're gonna give it a go, okay? This is let's get the slate. Take one of driving with Colin, but on a scooter. The scooter has 3 different speeds, and each different speed has a turbo, so 6 different. Oh, this is gonna be shaking like a mother here. Hold on. Friends, I don't know if you can hear me, but this is speed number 2. It's a little bouncy. We're gonna add the turbo. I can tell you how fast I'm going. I am going 30 kilometers an hour. But once I get around this turn, we're gonna really crank her up. We are at 40 kilometers an hour. And if I go up to level 3, are really cooking now. We are at 50 kilometers an hour. 55. Sammy Hagar, you can't drive 55. This filming is going to be atrocious, and I know it. Okay, let's take a look. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe. Girlfriend behind the camera. Passing in the distance is a Canadian beaver. Who cares about me? Just get the beaver. See you, buddy. Friends, Colin from Canada. Colin tanned, possibly burnt. Are we getting that? Look at this guy. This guy's king of the Viking ships, I think. Hopefully my camera skills are working right now. Friends, Colin from Canada here, still at Earl Rowe. We're at the entrance to the Riverside, which is where I am camping. Did they not know that I was coming? Friends, Colin from Canada here. Not sweating as much, but still here, Earl Rowe. We're at the boat launch. This was the site of the worst filmed osprey in a tree or not in a tree clip. This is where we got that. The beaver way in the distance where there's no chance in hell you saw him was taken here. Lovely dock here. Look at the finger pointing. And then boat launch. We don't have a boat. Friends, Colin from Canada here, Earl Rowe Provincial Park. There's a fire ban on, meaning no campfires. But look who showed up. You know what that means. Colin from Canada's comedy on fire. Friends, Colin from Canada here, at a muted volume as my girlfriend laughs off camera. We're on the Rainbow Run Trail on a little bridge made out of a trailer. I shit you not. And if you see in the distance, my finger will actually point. It's the blue heron for probably the 7th time in this montage of excellence from Earl Rowe. Colin from Canada, blue heron, 7th time. Friends, Colin from Canada, merely my head in the shot because behind me is the dam, still at Earl Rowe. Burnt to a crisp, already covered that. A little bit of sweaty in the evening, haven't trimmed the mustache. Nose hairs are running rampant, but we push forward. This is the 2nd time filming the dam. The dam is on the other side of the fish ladder. Covered the fish ladder before. I filmed here 2 nights ago and there was a 13 to 14-year-old boy fishing here and I said, hey, I just need to film the dam. Do you want to be in the video? And he said, sure. So I filmed with just him in the background and then did my thing and then took off. And then the girlfriend said, yeah, you probably shouldn't film kids in your videos, Colin. And I was like, good point, honey. So Jackson, can't really put your video up because you're a minor, but shout out to Jackson. I hope he caught a lot of fish. This is the dam at Earl Rowe. Throw it up. Friends, Colin from Canada, we have ventured off the Earl Rowe Provincial Park and we are in Angus, Ontario. And behind me, if you'll look carefully, is Mike the Mattress Guy. You can sleep better with Mike the Mattress Guy. Sleep better. Better. Friends, Colin from Canada here, off of Earl Rowe Provincial Park at an undisclosed location. I'm just going to talk over the traffic. As you know, Canada is famous for the poutine. And if I am not mistaken, behind me is where they not only store, but guard the cheese curds. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl Rowe. If I spin you around, we are at the group camping site. These are 3 enormous sites for 25 to 100 people. But let's get to the important stuff. you know you want to see the dumpsters. Guys, when we're on the group camping site, we care about garbage and garbage only. Again, I'm just going to turn one dumpster, two dumpster, and we have the propane and, you know, the propane recycle. But look what the campers have cleverly done, because they care about the earth. They've turned one of the propane cylinder recycling receptacles into a recycling bin for cans or plastics. Group camping dumpsters. Friends, Colin from Canada, still at Earl, Rowe. Not sweating as much today. Got a lovely breeze coming off this Babbling brook that the girlfriend and I have found off of the group camping. Group camping has two kind of up there, and then you go down this hill towards the river, and there is another group camping. None of them are taken, so we are all over the place exploring, and we found a babbling brook. Look, a babbling brook. Friends, Colin from Canada, helmet for safety, last night at Earl Rowe. Scootering with the girlfriend as she tells me to lower the volume off camera. What do we see over yonder? We're at the fish ladder yet again. Folks, it's the blue heron for the 8th time. I'm going to point to it correctly this time. There he is. Yeah, buddy. Blue heron, take 8. Still at Earl Rowe. Friends, Colin from Canada. Junior Chipmunk Whisperer. John Riddell is the champ. I've only done the hand. Look at the hole in that sock. We'll get him next time. Friends, Colin from Canada, trying to do some Chipmunk Whisperer John Riddell tactics, but as I mentioned earlier, there's turf wars. We have 3 chipmunks in the mix, all going for the same amount of peanuts on the ground, and let's just say I don't think they have a beer at the local bar. I don't think they're chums. Oh, he's back. Come on, buddy. Oh, that is just a really flattering shot of my whole body. Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. I will wrestle you for food. Friends, Colin from Canada, that was an unflattering shot of my gut, so we're going to bring the camera up here. Oh, participating in my videos now, are you, in the background? Folks, I might have to sneeze here. Hold it. And wait. That doesn't help with feeding the chipmunks. Getting to my point, pushing forward. When the peanuts are on the ground, they don't want to come near Colin. Lesson learned. There it is. Okay. And where is he at? This is just some fun video. I need a whole minute shot of Colin holding a selfie stick and peanuts in his other hand with nothing. Is there a fight? My girlfriend's telling me there's a fight behind me. And because of my camera skills. Did he get him? Here he comes. Okay. No, she doesn't have the 1 minute 1 of nothing. Sons of bitches. Here we go. He's loading up. Okay. So now the next time he comes, he'll come right up to my shoulder. Friends, Colin from Canada, if you can... Am I filming the right leg? Yes, I am. We have a stairway of peanuts going up my leg. And thus inducing him to climb up a solidly muscular leg and inner thigh up to my chest, where the goal is this shot and the chipmunk in my hand feeding. Oh, here he comes. Here he comes. Will he fall for the staircase of peanuts? I think he might. Guys, he's down there. Nope. You son of a... Come on, playa. Come on. The people can only get so much of my gut. Friends, Colin from Canada, the chipmunk is on his hind quarters. If you can see him right there, he's coming over. He wants to go up the staircase of peanuts, and we have to get the camera ready for that. Okay? Friends, halfway up the leg, halfway up the staircase of peanuts, I would say that's successful. He might be back.